I am not being dramatic when I say this week's astrology transports us into a month that is not just the most cosmically chaotic month of 2023. No, not just that. It feels like the most cosmically chaotic month of perhaps the decade. So let's get into it. My name is Comet. Welcome to Magic Monday, where we break down not just the astrology of the week ahead, but how you are going to synchronize, plan, and align with these celestial energies in order to live your most magical, aligned life, which, yes, is possible even with this chaotic energy that I'm speaking about. So let's just get right into it. What am I talking about? So March 2023 is a very, very powerful month. We have Saturn ingressing into Pisces, Pluto ingressing into Aquarius. These are planets that don't really shift and change, rearrange too often. Like Pluto is moving into Aquarius, where it will largely transit through to 2044. Keep in mind, it will retrograde back into Capricorn later this year, but that's a shift. It's entering new territory of the sky that none of us have felt within our lifetime, and it's signaling a brand new era. And with Saturn entering Pisces, a new arena of work that we have to do, messes that we have to clean up. In addition to that, before they enter this new territory, they're both chilling at the 29th degree, which in astrology is the final degree called the anaretic degree. It's a critical degree, which does give this urgent sort of feeling to the astrology of March. And I don't mean to inspire any fear. That's one thing that you can be certain of on my channel through all of my content. It's part of my code of ethics as an astrologer to let you know the tea or the latte of what's happening with the astrology, but ensure that I deliver it in a method where you feel empowered, because truly it's not that the world is ending. There might be a feeling like, oh my gosh, I might feel like it's ending, but I promise to you it's not. It's just beginnings. Now, neither of these shifts happened this week, but I wanted to put it into your awareness as both Saturn and Pluto are chilling at that anaretic critical degree, which is essentially kind of permeating the cosmos and the collective with this foreboding, fearful energy as we prepare for these shifts. Saturn enters Pisces next week. Pluto enters Aquarius a little later in the month. I have deep dive videos on both of these topics, and Jupiter conjunct Chiron will be live this Friday. So look out for those. But I just wanted to let you know that that is on the horizon, but let's bring the focus back to this particular week, because it's not all bad. Please don't allow fear to cloud your judgment. There's lots of beauty and opportunity within the cosmos as we focus on the day-to-day. And it's really important. Like, as I talk through these transits, keep in mind, North Node is still in Taurus, South Node is still in Scorpio. It's very important that we continue to anchor into this North Node in Taurus energy of one step in front of the other, grounding down into what is tangible and what is real within our existence, and trying not to allow fear and doom thinking and assuming the worst to take over our existence, because then we are not able to handle the minutia of our daily existence and the minutia of taking care of yourself physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all of the things that you need. So I want you to give yourself permission, especially since Pisces season, which can be kind of overwhelming emotionally and spiritually, give yourself permission to tune into your space, ensure you're in a good space as we transition to this. It can feel selfish sometimes, but you are in charge of you. You need to make sure you are in a good space in order to help and to stay informed what it is that you need to stay informed about. Okay, so it is not selfish to prioritize yourself and center yourself within your own existence. Like, keep in mind, Venus and Jupiter are in Aries, and they can join this week. So, even though there's intensity in March's astrology, there's also loveliness. Like, guys, Venus is the planet of love, beauty, money, and it's meeting up with Jupiter. Luck, abundance, growth, expansion. Like, this is lovely energy. This is feeling more beautiful energy. This is feeling more loving energy, more forthright about your desires energy, more in tune with meaning within your existence energy. So there is this expansion around what it is that we love and allowing what it is that we love to be an anchor as we kind of like navigate this really intense territory, like allowing yourself not to feel guilty around doing things that make you feel good, that make you feel beautiful, making sure to tune into the love in your life. Like, it is not selfish to prioritize these matters. And honestly, it's like self-care this week, because we have Mercury on Saturn, which can make very challenging mentally. We can just be feeling like we're looking at the world through the lens around everything that is wrong. We could be feeling more dejected. We can be feeling more negative. So again, taking conscious time this week, and we'll chat about the specifics in a moment, but taking conscious time this week to make sure that you are taking time for what it is that you love, creating the art that you love, spending time with the people that you love. This is self-care. This is coping. This is essential as we move into this month's astrology. So as we go into vibe check of the week, I know I'm making you guys nervous the way I'm flinging this thing around, so I'm going to put it down. But today I have a salted caramel latte, and then I foamed some oat milk with like a splash of cinnamon roll oat creamer. So we'll like mix together, and honestly, it's divine. Like, that's what I'm saying. That's what we need this week, is those little luxuries, those little moments of decadence that allow us to navigate the sludge that sometimes Saturn and Pluto at the anaretic can bring. Little luxuries, little acts of self-care. I'm telling you, it's going to be so helpful for coping this week and this month. So this week we have Venus on Jupiter, Mercury on Saturn, Mercury enters Pisces, Venus conjunct Chiron. It is a packed week, so let's go ahead and get into it. But I do want to just make a quick reminder that if you are looking for a big picture look at the astrology of March 2023 and how it will affect you, your chart, your soul, make sure to check out my membership options called Magic Monthly. In the planets tier, I make you a little calendar with all of the aspects, with little icons that designate what days are good for what aspects are good for what. And then at the Galaxy tier, I make you a digital astrology planner where you can get the tea on all of these transits, as well as the co-creative opportunities that they present. Learn about the whole of March 2023's astrology, as well as some other fun features of the template that are really designed for the purpose of soulful self-care during these times of celestial challenge. So make sure to check that out. Beginning of the month is a great time to jump in so you can really get the lowdown on the whole of March 2023, which, like I said, is a big month. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into Vibe Check of the Week. Welcome to Vibe Check of the Week, where we liken all of the astrological events, Mercury entering Pisces and Venus conjunct Chiron, and essentially liken it to a real life scenario, so that even if you don't remember the specifics of what Mercury conjunct Saturn means and Venus conjunct Jupiter means, you could begin to tune in to the emotions and themes that could come to the surface with this week's astrology, and thus with your world. So this week's astrology feels like a bad trip. And I am not talking about a vacation. I am not talking about a vacation. I am talking about a psychedelic experience that didn't go so well, but maybe it didn't start that way. So as we do in Vibe Check, let's set the scene. Come with me on a journey, if you will. Let's say you are going to a music festival, because there are parts of this week's astrology that are very fun. Like with Venus on Jupiter, we can find that we are more creative, we're more loving, we are more passionate about what we love, who we love, what we are inspired by. We're in the mood to enjoy life. We're in the mood to experience pleasure, right? Which is why we go to music festivals, to hear good music, to see sights, and to maybe dabble in some experiences, shall we say. And because you're in this euphoric Venus on Jupiter state, you decide to dabble. You decide to dabble with some altered states of consciousness. It is Pisces season after all, right? Which is typically the time of the year that we are craving a vacation from reality. We want to connect to the bigger picture. We want to contemplate new things, new worlds. We want to see things through new eyes. We want to break from the mundane. We want to break from reality. So you say yes. And you know, it just doesn't go that well. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be a bad week, but I will say, I want you to think of you being at that festival, deciding to, and like within 30 minutes of it all kicking in, you realize, oh my gosh, we lost the key to the camper. So that just kind of like makes you spiral around, where are we going to sleep tonight? And you're not thinking clearly, obviously, because of your choices. And so you're panicking about that. You're thinking about all the stuff that's in there. Suddenly you can't find your credit card and you're all over the place. And you're also, not only are you panicking about the physical, real reality of like, okay, where am I? I'm in this weird city. I'm in this place. Like, do I know these people who are around me? What's going on? Where's the key? Where's my stuff? You're also mentally freaking out about other arenas. Like suddenly you're you're looking at your relationship and you're like, oh my gosh, am I not supposed to be with this person? The breakup is gonna be so hard. You're looking at your job and being like, oh my gosh, there's been all those rumors about layoffs. What if I get back home and I don't have a job anymore? And you are just panicking. And it's really important to remember, you are not seeing things clearly this week, okay? With Mercury on Saturn, yes, it's stark, it's realistic. Saturn's not dishonest, so it's not that our mental space is tuning into arenas of our life that don't need fixing. Like, absolutely, Mercury and Saturn's like, yeah, your relationship, maybe fix that. Yeah, your industry, kind of not doing so great, so maybe let's contemplate some other arenas. And we're kind of in a more emotional space as we contemplate this, and we're not seeing it super clearly. We're seeing it through Saturn lenses, which is like worst case scenario energy, which is really, really negative, tuned in mentally to the lack and the restriction around us, really blowing up everything that's wrong within our world as well as wrong within the planet. And when you're in those spirals, it's very hard to break it, because it was like, and you took this thing, right? And that experience of realizing that you lost the key and lost your credit card, it kind of took you into this whole journey where all of a sudden you're hyperfixating on all that feels wrong with yourself, this festival, this life, this collective, right? And it's really important with Pisces season, with Mercury and Pisces, that we aren't allowing ourselves to stay there as we can help it. Like with the energy of Pisces, keep in mind, it's one fish swimming down and one fish swimming up. So it's just part of the Pisces experience to be like, I'm nothing and everything's wrong and I'm the worst. And then all of a sudden be like, wait, no, I'm actually magic and everything's fine and I'm powerful. So allowing yourself to oscillate without getting too attached to either the thoughts that come up, the emotions that come up, the stories that come up, particularly around your healing journey, because then on Friday, Venus conjoins Chiron. The planet of love and beauty and money is meeting up with Chiron, which is where it is that we've been wounded. So there is this energy around examining where it is that we've been wounded as it relates to our own value, as it relates to our love. So I want you to think of being in that space of the festival where it's like just so much is going on in your head. You're contemplating all of these things. You're in a really bad space. You're like about to freak out. And with Venus on Chiron, like feeling that pain almost amplified because you are in this altered state of consciousness around, oh my gosh, this relationship, what if they don't love me? Or like, what if I do lose my job? I'm not going to be financially stable any longer. Like just panicking. I just want to share this motto as we move into this week where it's like, it's not so good, but it's not so bad. Because again, with Venus, Jupiter, there is this tendency of like euphoria, partying the day away, spending the day away, be like, I'm living my best life. And then with Mercury on Saturn, it's like, actually everything's wrong. So it's just really important to balance these energies by being like, okay, when we're in that euphoric Venus on Jupiter, let's make sure we stay grounded. Let's make sure we temper ourselves and our desires, but also understanding that with Mercury and Saturn, things aren't as bad as our mind is making them seem at this moment. So just realizing, it's not perfect, but it's not so bad either. So just striving one step at a time to ground down to what it is that you need as you navigate this week's astrology. And without further ado, let's go ahead and take it into our day-by-day analysis. I do want to let you know that all timestamps are below. If I utter a time, it is PST, Pacific Standard Time, otherwise known as GMT-8. So make sure to dial into your time zone if you are located elsewhere in the world than I am. And without further ado, let's go ahead and dive in with our Monday, February 27th forecast. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is that you are located, whatever time it is. Let's talk about the astrology for Monday, February 27th. So the moon is in curious, communicative, chatty Gemini all day long, which is like in the vibe check, getting to the music festival, connecting, chatting, getting your social butterfly on, in the mood to connect and harmonize with those around you. With this particular day, I do want to highlight it is the first quarter moon, which is a callback to last week's Pisces new moon, which was this sort of like shimmery yet somber new start, where it was kind of looking at where it is that we want to work with Saturn in Pisces. Again, Saturn is chilling at the 29th degree of Aquarius, which does imbue this sensation of urgency, this now or never feeling. And like I said, it can be sort of crisis destructive energy. So with Saturn and Pluto at the 29th degree, there is this energy where, oh my gosh, everything is going to fall apart. And again, it's not so good, but it's not so bad. Like striving to be as neutral as you can with this energy, like observing where does that panic sets in, because that's why it's the vibe check around that feeling you're in, oh my gosh, we lost the keys, we lost the credit card, everything's gonna be bad, everything's gonna be bad. Like deep breath. Notice where it is that you're going down there and be like, okay, All right, I see you planets at the anaretic degree. Because again, it's like how I would liken it is I don't want you to hear that word crisis and be like, oh my gosh, there's going to be this worldwide crisis and everything's going to be horrible and everything's going to be bad and I'm not safe and anything of that nature. There just is this energy where a lot of people are feeling this crisis energy. And what's been coming through for me a lot whenever I like tune into this energy are the words crisis of spirit. So it feels like this energy where people need something to believe in. People are feeling more kind of like faithless or more lost, or there just is this energy where people are just feeling more and more down. And I'm sure you've recognized that within the collective. Again, like my work here is to deliver you the astrology in the most empowering manner possible. So I do want to let you know with Saturn and Pluto, if you're feeling this energy around, I can't breathe, things feel so bad, oh my gosh, and everything just feels bad, just like understanding, okay, it's not so good, but it's not so bad. I need to focus on getting myself into the best state that I can get informed, help out, do what it is that I need to do when I am in a state to do so. Because when you're in that space, like if you think about, if you've ever had an experience like in the vibe check, where you're just like sitting down at a music festival, just like panicking, you can't do anything. You can't go look for your keys. You just are in such a panic state and all the thoughts are crushing you around both the issues at this particular festival as well as within your world that you almost are just numb. So again, try not to get bogged down around all the things. It's just like tuning the focus inward and be like, okay, well, I can't do anything about that. Let me just focus on doing my work to get me into a good state so that I am able to either solve my own issues, help other people, what have you. That needs to be priority number one. And I don't want you to feel guilty about that because again, with Venus and Jupiter in Aries this week, like treating yourself to those little luxuries, those little moments of enjoyment can make your life more sustainable. It helps you get to a good, well state of being. And that needs to be the most important thing for us to be able to enact any meaningful sort of change. So when I say this energy of crisis, like I say crisis of spirit because it just feels like a lot of people are panicking. There's a lot of uncertainty. There's a lot of anger. There's a lot within the collective, and it can feel overwhelming. And this is kind of compounded by Monday's first quarter moon, which does tend to be a moon phase that is crisis, right? Crisis of action is what it's called. And it's almost this energy around, okay, well, what am I going to do? Because again, with the new moon, it was like, okay, how am I going to work with Saturn? And this first quarter moon is kind of like touching base around, okay, how am I going to take my dreams and put them into reality, right? What am I going to do about it, right? How am I going to support myself, support my mind? Because again, Gemini, the moon's in Gemini. Gemini has a lot of thoughts in that brain. And keep in mind, its ruler Mercury is getting closer and closer to Saturn. So there just could be this energy around, I've got to figure it all out. I've got to do it all like right now. I've got to figure something out. Like again, lovingly bring yourself back to the present moment. Like Monday's astrology is not all bad. I just want to let you know there just is a vibe this week where it just feels like this looming crisis, or if like you're feeling fine, but you just have this energy of like paranoia or fear or feeling like the ground is about to fall out beneath you. Like it's Saturn and Pluto chilling at this degree, essentially, which is this kind of foreboding energy. And it also sort of with Saturn and Pluto at this degree, it also kind of creates this urgency around really taking into account the lessons that we have learned from Saturn in Aquarius, which has been the case for the last 2.5 years, and Pluto in Capricorn since 2008. So staying open to those themes, but also just staying grounded enough to deal with this step and this step and this step, because things do tend to be a little intense as planets enter new territory and furthermore wrap up the lessons of Saturn in Aquarius and Pluto in Capricorn. It's almost like I like to think of planets as teachers and transits as exams, but it's almost like, you know, when planets finally depart this section, it's like final exam time around Saturn and Aquarius. Is like, well, okay, have you as society been doing your Saturn and Aquarius work? Pluto and Capricorn's like, well, here's final exam. That basically tests us on all that we have learned and can make all of what that class was for, that transit was for, very, very apparent and sometimes very in our face. And there could be this energy of crisis or like panic or like fear or intensity in it. Like Monday's astrology is lovely, but I just need to be honest with you guys. I need to be forthright that if you're observing this energy of like panic or freaking out around, and then this, bringing the focus back, it is not selfish to just tune into what it is that you need to do today. Pay attention to your little tasks, watch your little comfort shows, listen to your little music. There's just going to be a vibe where it's like, oh my gosh, things are really intense. Again, it's not so good, but it's not so bad. Aiming for neutrality, aiming for non-attachment, aiming for peace, if possible. I will say on Monday, what can be very helpful is this energy of connection with other people, whether it's like voice memoing a friend, connecting with your therapist, maybe writing, journaling, anything that takes what it is that you're feeling and puts it into words. Because keep in mind, Moon's a Gemini. Gemini's got a lot of thoughts, and it's a first quarter moon, so there's this energy around this now or never, like I need to take action or do something now. Paying attention to this matter and this matter, taking what it is that you feel and breaking it down into words, it can be so helpful. So I deeply encourage it, especially since the Gemini moon does sextile Chiron at some point during its journey. So the first quarter moon happened shortly after midnight. So again, you could kind of been feeling that Sunday night building, Sunday scaries feeling, and then on Monday sort of feel that energy as well. But I will say, find excuses to feel good. Like you might, read news before you go to work and be like, okay. But then you, okay. And then you eat a latte and a muffin and suddenly you're feeling a little bit better. Does the latte and the muffin fix the issue? No, but it doesn't put you in a great spot to like go do what you need to do when you are panicking and obsessing. So just finding those little excuses, little luxuries, little listening to your favorite album, eating something divine, connecting with your work bestie, or voice memoing your friend on the way to office. Find excuses for love, for connection, for harmony, for enjoyment with those around you. Stay curious about other people and those around you. So I've been getting really into mixology lately because it is Pisces season after all, and I think it's very pleasurable to make a beautiful cocktail. And I have 2 fun astrology themed mixology books. So I popped around to my local liquor store to get triple sec to make one of the Pisces season cocktails, and it was packed. It was super packed. And I always kind of chat with the individual who works there. I don't drink that often, but they also have like incidentals there. So like if we're out of salt or mustard or something, or we're in a bind, I could just pop there. And sometimes we chat, but not often, but I was the last person in line. But like I said, it was very, very crowded. So I was like, have you noticed that you guys have been more busy since February 18th, which is the day that the sun ingressed into Pisces? And she was like, yes, Sunday we did more volume than we did on Super Bowl weekend, which is typically like a time that they do sell a lot. She was like, why? And I was like, well, Pisces season, in astrology, Pisces governs drinking, things of that nature. And she was so down. So like literally for the next 45 minutes, we were just kind of like chatting about astrology. I swear I wasn't being annoying. The line did kind of die down after I went. And she was like so into it. And we just had such a nice, cute little chat. And it was so just kind of good for the spirit. Like it's just nice to have those little connections. So my challenge for you on Monday is start a conversation with someone random, if possible, whether it's, online if need be, or your barista, or the individual you get your flowers from, or your grocery store clerk. Like there's always an opportunity to connect, and that's the reason that we're here. And I just think it's nice sometimes to just connect with people like they're humans and not just, the grocery store clerk, the liquor store clerk, because humans always have something to teach us, no matter who it is that they are. Just it's important to ask questions and see what it is that you can learn. Because I learned so much from her. I mean, we talked for a long time. So I just love those little random connections. So my challenge for you on Monday is to find an excuse to have one. It can be healing, just with the Gemini moon sextile Chiron. Like it can be really great to journal on your emotions, connect with someone else on your emotions. If you're not up for a random convo with someone else, with a stranger, maybe dialing up a friend or something of that nature. Take what it is that you're feeling, put it into words. That evening, be mindful of being very reactive or impulsive, as the Gemini moon does meet up with Mars, which can make sleeping a little bit more challenging. Would be great for a late night workout. It exacts at 8:21 p.m. So depending on where you are located within the world, can be helpful or not so helpful. On Tuesday, there's kind of a slower start to the day as the moon does square off with Neptune at 7:46 a.m., which is that energy when you like wake up and you're kind of like in a haze, like shaking off the bad dreams from the night prior. You could be feeling more emotional. You could be feeling more sleepy. Again, kind of overarching feeling about Pisces season is like nothing is real. And the Gemini moon squaring Neptune kind of compounds upon those emotions. But I will say, while the morning time is like, what is real? Nothing's real. The momentum built, okay? And then you're like, oh wait, there actually are things that are real. This paper is real. This project is real. These emails are real. So with the Gemini moon, it trines Mercury, trines Saturn. So very helpful for connection, for meetings, for planning, for writing. There is a really stabilizing energy. And perhaps, it's helpful to deal with the matters at hand if you are in a more panicked or fearful state, right? Just dealing with this task and then this task and then this task can be very sort of like grounding. The moon is void at 5:07 p.m. So do strive to get a bulk of your work done prior to that point. When the moon is void, important tasks we must avoid. And then the moon enters Cancer at 6:40 p.m. which draws our awareness to our emotions, to our home, to what feels safe. On Wednesday, March 1st, welcome to a wild, wild month of astrology. Oh my goodness. And the vibe of Wednesday is potentially too much of a good thing. When the moon's in Cancer, obviously we are in the mood to nurture ourselves, make ourselves feel safe, but there is a tendency to go overboard, whether it's with the little swipey swipe of our credit card, whether it's with the amount of food that we order at lunchtime, whether it's with sweets, whether it's with socializing at work and then realizing, oh, I'm actually not getting anything done at all. Again, Venus conjoins Jupiter, so I do want you to carve time for a little luxuries, and especially with this Cancer moon, our almost need for security and safety feels bottomless. We really want to make ourselves feel supported, to feel loved, but just being mindful because it does not feel like a very moderate energy. It feels very, very excessive. Yes, for the purpose of nurturing ourselves, but it does kind of go overboard a bit. And, you know, with the Cancer, we're feeling all of the feels. We're feeling all of the feels, especially with the Cancer moon trining the Pisces sun. Like, this is so much water. You could drown in this much water. It's a lot of water. It's so fascinating just observing. Again, not in a good way. I'm not excited that this happens, but every single Pisces season, right when the sun ingresses into Pisces, people are like, oh my gosh, this is so overwhelming, so many emotions, like everybody's spiraling. And I'm like, literally, how do you think we feel? This is how Pisces feel all of the time. So there's a lot of emotions and you really just gotta rock with the fluctuations. Like, part of the experience of being a Pisces is just oscillating between intense lows and intense highs and just embracing what either have to teach you, because both sides of the spectrum have a lot to teach you. The trick is staying grateful in the highs and graceful in the lows, because everything's always in flux. So not getting too cocky when things are going exceptionally well and not being too hard on yourself when they're not. In fact, I think it's very helpful to remind ourselves that everything is constantly in flux. Like with business, it's constantly in flux. There's constantly ups and downs. When it relates to our, relationships, there can be better months than others, times that you feel really in tune with each other, times that it does take more of a concentrated effort. Everything's constantly up and down. Every part has something to teach you. Like when it comes to being a Pisces, I do feel like part of the Pisces experience is to feel every emotion under the sun, have every single experience under the sun, because then we can empathize with other individuals. Like, oh, I've been there. I've been in a lull, right? And appreciating what that lull is teaching you around how you can support other individuals when they're in a lull, what it's addressing to you about your own needs, about your own soul space, things of that nature. I will say that the Cancer moon then squares Jupiter, squares Venus, because Venus conjunct Jupiter exacts today. And this is the vibe around too much of a good thing. I won't lie, there's almost kind of like a delusional energy on Wednesday, which again, at that music festival, nothing feels real. And that's kind of part of Pisces season energy as well. It's like nothing's real, and that can be depressing, like nothing's real, or it can be freeing, like nothing's real. And when it comes to Wednesday's astrology, there is a vibe to obviously enjoy life, maybe be a little excessive with Venus on Jupiter. And for some individuals, it does feel like coming from an emotional place, like kind of going through it. So like ordering, 3 entrees at lunch, or kind of going through it. So buying 5 pairs of shoes, like watch the excesses. The Cancer moon's desire for validation and safety and emotional comfort feels bottomless, honestly, on Wednesday. And while there is some kind of like good vibes, we want to connect, we want to enjoy life, we might be feeling more creative. Again, a lot of us are going to feel emotionally all over the map. Some people could feel very, very emotional. So I just want to say, you could be feeling really intense highs of emotion, really intense lows of emotions. Again, Pisces season, one fish swimming up, one fish swimming down. Lots of highs and lows. You just got to rock with the highs and lows. But if you are on the more sad side of the spectrum, there does feel to be an energy around just wanting to comfort yourself through material pursuits, through attention from lovers, through food, like through sweets. There's just a desire to just make ourselves feel good and perhaps go to excess with that. So just mind the bank account, right? Mind what it is that you are ordering. Feel what's coming to the surface. Try not to suppress it, right? Feel it. If you need to cry while you watch that movie, cry while you watch that movie. Like allowing yourself a moment to sit in that emotion before dismissing it. Like I said, this week is a delicate balance around. There does feel to be some intensity within the cosmos, and it's around how can you kind of observe what's coming to the surface for you personally, because like I said, Venus conjoins Chiron. There can be a certain wounding yet healing vibe that kind of encapsulates this week's astrology. How is it that you can feel what is coming to the surface without getting attached to it, right? Allowing itself to come in, embrace those emotions, what it is that it's trying to teach you, and then allow it to leave. And notice where it is that you're looking for something that makes you feel better, right? Something that kind of takes you out of that emotion, out of that pain. Because again, you know, that from the vibe check, that bad trip isn't particularly pleasant, but you might learn a couple of things. Maybe there's like an epiphany that you have around, this actually isn't the career field I want to be in, or this is actually not the relationship for me. Like there can be certain epiphanies this week, but to have those epiphanies, we need to be able to sit in the discomfort of the emotions that can come to the surface. So just be mindful on Wednesday where you're trying to spend it away, eat it away, distract it away, strive if possible to sit in it for a moment. And yet, even though there is this energy around excess, I do want you to indulge in life's luxuries in some way. Create art, spend time with those that you love, have pleasurable experiences, but really tune in. This is a really important question to ask yourself as you navigate Pisces season. Is this to enhance my reality or to escape it, right? Like again, like in the vibe check, those substances can be helpful in clarifying when it comes to your existence here, but they also can be very, very disillusioning and make you feel very numb to your reality. So really tuning into the experiences that you have, which yes, I want you to maximize love and beauty and pleasure in your life on Wednesday. Just tune in. What am I doing this for? Am I listening to this album to really be present when it comes to all this music? Or am I listening to this album and eating ice cream to really be present with the taste? Or am I just trying to avoid feeling something, right? Tune in, expand life's luxuries. Again, it is not selfish to prioritize what it is that you need in order to cope, in order to take care of yourself. Like again, with Venus on Jupiter in Aries, like allow yourself to prioritize your own desires and know that it is helpful, especially during times like this. So, while I do want you to enjoy on Wednesday, check in with your impulses around where it is that it's coming from and, you know, mind the amount. Maybe just buy one pair of shoes is good, or have one bowl of ice cream. Like staying present, staying grounded is important because we do not have that much earth energy within the cosmos. Sun in Pisces, Cancer, Moon, Mercury in Aquarius, it's about to enter Pisces, Venus in Aries, Mars in Gemini, Jupiter in Aries, Saturn in Aquarius. Only Uranus and Pluto are in Earth signs. So again, Earth is our ability to feel tethered to our body, to our experience. So it's just important to continually check in and find excuses to ground down into your body as you navigate this week's astrology. So on Thursday, March 2nd, Mercury conjoins Saturn. We are not seeing the world clearly. We are seeing the world through Saturn glasses. And seeing the world through Saturn glasses is almost like looking at your existence with all of what's going right kind of sucked out. You're just not seeing it. You're not tuning in. So important on Thursday, work that muscle. What is going well? What am I grateful for? Like it's not always easy, but it's almost like with gritted teeth being like, what am I grateful for? Fine, I'm grateful for my health. I'm grateful for clean water. Like it's not easy. Like with Mercury, Saturn, it's like, but think about all the lack in your life. Think about all the scarcity in your life. Other people don't have it like that. Like again, working that muscle around what's going well, what's going right. What am I grateful for? What am I grateful for? Super important. Like I want you to think having that experience at a festival and someone comes up to you and is like, think about butterflies and sunshine. You're like, get out of my face. What do you mean butterflies and sunshine? I don't know where I'm sleeping tonight. We lost the camper key. I lost my credit card. Someone could be spending my money right now. And you're telling me to think about rainbows and butterflies. But again, okay, rainbows and butterflies, like gritted teeth. But again, working that muscle will be helpful. And does Mercury Saturn have some relevant epiphanies? Yes, that experience, having that bad trip, maybe there are certain epiphanies that you have. You're like, okay, it's not the end of the world, but I am seeing clearly that I do need to look for a new job. It's not the end of the world, but I am seeing clearly there are issues in my relationship. Like again, it's not as bad as we think with Mercury on Saturn. And it's important to realize that. Like, yes, it's pointing out certain fundamental issues within our world, within society's world, right? But it's just really important to also tune into what's magical and what's beautiful. I swear it exists. Might be hard to see it on Thursday. Even if through gritted teeth, gratitude, rainbows and butterflies, working that muscle. And then at 2:52 p.m., Mercury enters Pisces. Mercury does not enjoy it here because Mercury is about the facts and the figures, and Pisces is about the dream, about the vision. Mercury kind of gets lost in the Piscean Sea. Mercury can't swim. Mercury, the planet of logic, cannot swim, so it's just like kind of doggy paddling, just like, what am I doing here? Because with the energy of Pisces, it's all about inspiration and the big picture, and Mercury is like, well, what are the facts and figures? And Pisces is like, it doesn't matter the facts and figures, what is the dream of it all? And Mercury's like, we need the facts and figures. So they're just sort of like mismatched. That's why a lot of Mercury and Pisces natives are really, really gifted poets, songwriters, artistes, because they see the world through a creative lens, but it can be hard for them to explain what it is that they're saying in stark language around, this is about inequality or what have you. They'll explain it via a poem. They'll explain it via a photo. Like, they express their ideas typically through a more inspired lens. They're not always as linear when it comes to their communication. So also with Mercury and Pisces, we can find when it comes to our communication within our interpersonal life, almost like getting into this energy around, well, they should know that I feel that way. You know, Pisces has to do with the intuitive spiritual realm. So feeling like, well, they should know. I shouldn't have to tell my partner, they should know. With Mercury and Pisces, remembering that not everybody gets vibes. Not everybody gets signs. Not everybody gets, you know, slight hints that you make. Sometimes you do have to work that muscle around saying clearly what it is that you want or what it is that you need from your partner. And with Mercury and Pisces, there could be this energy around, they should know. No, you need to vocalize it, right? And if you can't vocalize it, maybe write a sonnet about how you want them to take off their shoes when they come into your apartment. Something. You might have to be a little creative with getting your point across, but with Mercury and Pisces, you know, we're not seeing the world too clearly as well. We're kind of seeing the world through this Piscean lens, which, like I said, can tilt towards martyrdom, can tilt towards feeling like the victim. Allow yourself to embrace those emotions around, if you need to baby yourself and coddle yourself for a moment, allow yourself. Cry, baby yourself, feel horrible about everything. But just remember, with this Aries energy and with Saturn entering Pisces, we are being asked to boss up. So you as a fish, again, we're all honorary fish this Pisces season, feel free to swim down, Sometimes you just need to feel those emotions, baby yourself, but remember to swim up, okay? You can't stay down here. You know, you can baby yourself, but then Aries energy is like, okay, boss up, we gotta handle this, right? We can't stay down there. If you just like crumble into a ball at that festival and just cry the entire time, you're not gonna find your camper key. Like, at some point you do have to pick yourself up and be like, okay, we gotta solve this. Where's my credit card? Do I need to shut off my credit card? We do need to solve the issue, but have that moment to cry and coddle, okay? No judgment of that. And I will say on Thursday, it could be helpful to kind of get some new stimuli in, walk a different way. My easiest way. I found the coolest new trail. I'm so excited about it. I'm really grateful to live a place where there's like a lot of random trails that I can explore. But find a new trail. If you too live somewhere like that, try something new, bake a new recipe. Whose coping mechanism is baking? Where are you at? Show yourself in the comments. Do something that makes you feel good, and something kind of a disruption to the daily routine, as the Cancer moon does sextile Uranus and Taurus and then trine Neptune. So we are in the mood for something new and something that makes us feel connected to something bigger. And it can be very inspired, like I said. With Mercury and Pisces, we're sort of seeing the world through this. So your thought process can be like, I'm the worst and I'm not cut out for this world, I'm not strong enough. Again, you can allow yourself to have those thoughts. Don't feel like they're wrong, but also don't get attached to that. That's not true. You're not seeing the world totally clearly. Remember your power. On Friday, March 3rd, the moon is void at 2:22 a.m. Closing aspect is in opposition from Pluto and Capricorn. So again, Pluto is at that anaretic degree, and it's kind of like cramping Cancer moon style, where we could be kind of feeling panicked, craving security, craving safety, whether we're craving that from our job, from a relationship, from whatever. And there's this energy with that crisis around feeling like this crisis is going to happen. And again, I really want you to be conscious around not feeding into the worst case scenario. And that's what's so important about astrology, I believe, is to deliver this information and not in a fear-mongering way. I never intend for that. I don't relay this information to incite fear. Truly, when it comes to worst case scenarios, what it is that's coming to your mind is not going to happen, okay? But I just want to let you know, with this Cancer moon opposite Pluto, there could just be this energy of feeling this weight on your chest around something feels wrong, something feels off. Even if nothing consciously is in your mind of what's going wrong, just feeling like this anxiety or this fearful energy. ground down. Okay, the mood should lighten a bit as the moon enters Leo at 7:16, but I do want to let you know that that early morning aspect, you just wake up with a feeling on your chest or just a weight on your chest or something of that nature. So again, there's a little bit more fire in the cosmos, so we're kind of in the mood to deal with the situation. This is kind of like coming out of that experience and being like, alrighty, I babied, I cried, I went through all of these different things, but let me consciously work this muscle around. Okay, what's gonna make me happy? Okay, I'm gonna consciously go to this music stage where the music is a little bit more calm, and I'm going to breathe through it. And again, work to find joy. Like that rainbow and butterfly girl, I don't know where she went, but I'm just gonna think, okay, rainbow and butterfly, let's just ground down. Let's do what makes us feel confident. Maybe putting on a different scarf will allow you to feel a little bit more grounded as you deal with it. Like again, fueling joy. We tend to think of something as joy that just naturally happens. Sometimes we have to consciously put forth that energy, consciously work that muscle around finding excuses to feel joyful, finding excuses to feel gratitude, which is actually more important when we are moving through really intense periods at this time. Like again, being the lighthouse. Like oftentimes we can feel selfish prioritizing our own joy, but it can be just the spark of joy as it relates when other people need it. Like that's part of my code of ethics. I know a lot of people, it doesn't totally sit well with them, how like bubbly I am, but that's something that I wrote is like, I will really strive to be a lighthouse for other individuals because I am conscious that a lot of people do find astrology when they are going through it. And when it comes to this information, I think it can be very enlightening and empowering. And for me to be able to hold that space, I need to prioritize that vibration of joy within my own experience. So not feeling guilty if you need a day off of work, if you need to go to a concert. Like again, there could be this feeling around the world's going to end, the world's going to end. No, we're entering a brand new era. But with these planets at this anaretic degree, there's this energy around it's all coming down, it's all bad. Like again, like a bad trip. We're not seeing it clearly. It's just this energy around everything's bad because it's like we're in an altered state of consciousness, right? So again, consciously working that muscle of joy, especially with the moon entering Leo on Friday. And Saturday's astrology is really lovely too. So do something fun with the weekend's astrology. But also on Friday, we have Venus conjunct Chiron. So this can be a purifying energy. With Venus on Chiron, there can be certain ouch experiences, particularly as it relates to our own beauty, right? Our own value, our own love, our own money, or feeling of lack thereof. Like with Venus on Chiron, we feel like I'm wrong because this isn't right? But it also just understanding, like certainly take accountability and be self-reliant is a message of Aries energy, but also understand societally, there's a lot of ways and systems that things are built for us not to win. Like Venus being beauty, that beauty standards are like literally built for us to fail, to not measure up so that we spend more money to constantly seek that. Capitalism is set up for us to have to work for a living for a majority of our lives. The standards of what a perfect relationship is can make us constantly think that someone needs to fit 100% of what it is that we're looking for when no human could possibly. So we hyper focus on the 10% we're not getting from our partner, right? And think, okay, well, they must not be the person for me because they don't fit every single thing that I've ever dreamed of. Like again, a lot of these things within society were built for us to lose, essentially. And it's just really important with Venus on Chiron that you're able to sort of divorce around what has been told that I should desire or that I should want, and what is it that I actually want, right? Being able to kind of separate the two. The cool thing about it is that with Friday, it is Venus Day, right? And Venus Chiron, it doesn't just dig up this stuff for us to feel bad about it, right? Like it's purifying, right? Fire, Aries is fire. It burns away the bacteria. It's really interesting being the age group I am because I'm just seeing everybody that I went to college with getting married, having babies. And people are always like, when are you getting married? When are you having babies? And I'm like, I don't really know. It's not something that I desire at this moment. But then it makes me feel very wrong. I'm like, am I behind? Am I not doing what I'm supposed to be doing? I'm so confused, but I just don't have that desire within me. But it makes me feel wrong. Like that's the thing with Venus on Chiron, it could make you feel wrong for what it is that you're desiring, for what it is that your situation is, your circumstances, like feeling wrong or feeling off or feeling different. It kind of pings at that, but it kind of allowed me to kind of clarify what is it that I desire and sort of heal that part of myself and understand we're all on our own timeline. We all have different charts. We all have different journeys, and that is absolutely okay. I'm not going to live a life for other people. I'm not going to be pressured into major decisions like marriage and babies just because it's societally expected, right? So there is a sort of healing energy, understanding your desires were given to you for a reason, like understanding that this society is not going to tell you what is right for you. To thine own self be true. Your desires were given to you for a reason. Marriage and babies isn't for every single human, and that's okay. Not everybody is going to look like what's fed to us on magazines and on Instagram, and that is okay. Our love relationship can be different than what is propelled towards us, or for some people it could be energy around really feeling your own singleness and feeling like that's wrong, right? With Venus on Chiron, there's just this energy around feeling like we are wrong for the desires that we have, the beauty that we have, the life that we've been living, the bank account that we have. Like understanding, take accountability when applicable, but also understand society's weird, okay, in a lot of different ways. So you're not wrong. You didn't do anything bad. Forgiving yourself, you know, for past relationship mistakes or financial mistakes, but all we can do is move forward. All we can do is be accountable for our desires and move towards them within this particular leg in the journey. So just being conscious around where you're being too critical on yourself, whether it's like appearance-wise, whether it comes to the life that you're living, the desires that you have, whether it relates to your relationship, things of that nature. All right, my card was full, so I probably lost my train of thought. I don't remember what I was saying, but essentially there's this energy around allowing yourself to burn away the thoughts and opinions of other people of what it is that they desire for your life and be able to like really tune into this is what I desire and that's okay. There's this healing, forgiving, compassionate energy on Friday of just being able to tap into who it is that you are as an individual, embracing every part of your story, things that were painful at the time being and understanding the value of them. You know, when it comes to Pisces season, I think to a level, Pisces as a sign is meant to experience every single emotion under the sun, every single experience, to have empathy for every shade of the human experience. And there is something about sitting down with someone who gets it, who truly gets it. So a lot of times when it comes to individuals who have strong Chiron within their chart, it's like they have something that they're meant to do with that wound, like something, a particular perspective, a particular medicine of what that experience, as painful as it was, gave to them in their pathway forward. So I just want to share on Friday with Venus on Chiron, there could be this energy around embracing all that you are, all of the ways that you don't fit in with society, all of the ways that you are on your own timeline, embracing the full spectrum of your desires and not feeling wrong for them. You are the master of your fate. You are the captain of your soul. Forgiving yourself, loving yourself, and embracing how those particular wounds make you the person that you are with the unique magic that you have. So Friday's astrology feels like part of Vibe Check where you go, you find this chill stage where they're playing really comforting music and you're just breathing. Again, there's like this wound of all that's coming to the surface, but you're just breathing into it. You're allowing the space to heal what's coming to the surface and you're allowing the music to heal you. That's another piece about Venus Chiron. Allow art to heal you, allow love to heal you, allow pleasure to heal you. Essentially is this energy around feeling all of the feels, which again could be intense, but allowing them to kind of pour in and see what it is that they're trying to teach you and how you are alchemizing that pain and that wounding into something beautiful and valuable with the energy of Venus. Saturday's astrology is the part of the Vibe Check where that stage healed you. You're like, okay, okay, I'm starting to feel better. It's starting to click. We're doing good because the Leo moon, you know, it trines Jupiter, it trines Venus, it trines Chiron. There's healing, good vibes. We're in the mood to adventure and experience life. You're like, hey, I'm freaked out about many areas of my life, but I'm at this music festival. I'm going to enjoy it. Okay, I'm going to enjoy it. When it comes to what it is that we are moving through, you need to continually enjoy life. And I know what you're saying. You're like, what? There's all these things that are happening. What do you mean enjoy life? Trust me, please enjoy life. Like I just think about different eras of where it is that we have been within the collective. And there's been so many experiences where I was like, the world's ending and I would like put off, you know, vacations and experiences and creating the art that I wanted and doing what it is that I wanted because I felt like the world was going to end. And you know, I've been feeling that way for like 15 years and it still hasn't. And I look back at when I was like younger in my 20s and I just felt like I couldn't experience life because I was like, well, things are so bad. Like I just need to huddle in and stay safe. And now I'm like, girl, like why were you not living your best life? Like that was your only time of being in your young 20s. Again, I know all people from all different age ranges watch me, but I want you to prioritize feeling what it is that you want to feel now. I know there's going to be parts of you where it's like, but the world and all these things, again, prioritize joy now. It's going to help take care of you like within this process. Again, there's issues in the trip, but you had to prioritize feeling good, feeling clear-headed in order to solve those issues. And I will say on Saturday, it would be great for an adventure of some sort. Get outdoors, move your body. The moon does square Uranus, so weather could be kind of unusual, or you could just be craving something new, something spontaneous, as well as like your emotions can kind of be like all over the map. On Sunday, the 5th, great day to wake up and work out. So I want you to think of that bad trip energy and like getting up and dancing and just moving that energy out of your body and just grounding down and be like, okay, I'm starting to come into sanity. It's not so bad. I'm not feeling like this panicked feeling. Again, the planets are still there. So it's like still honoring, okay, I do have to find my camper key and I do have to solve these issues, but I'm going to move my body and just focus on feeling good so that I can, do that with more ease and not panicking, because we are not too helpful when we're panicking. So I would really prioritize moving your body. The moon does oppose Saturn, so you can be feeling this energy around feeling weighted by your responsibilities, by your duties. And again, prioritize feeling good. Like Sunday scaries could be definitely a thing, especially when the moon enters Virgo at 7:38 p.m., which is a great time for like meal prepping or handling all the little to-dos that you need to do to prepare for the work week. And again, trying not to feel so neurotic. This matter, let's call the credit card company, shut off the credit card. Let's work to find the camper key. Where did we last have it? Like using logic and kind of grounding down into our existence. Like I said earlier, we don't have that much earth within the cosmos. So the Virgo moon, it's like, okay, let's connect to our body. Let's attune to what needs to be done. And do keep in mind, this is the sign of the full moon on Tuesday. So again, as that full moon gets bigger and bigger, so can our emotions, and thus so can sometimes our anxieties. So just really important to attune to this matter and this matter and this matter and this matter, right? So loves, that is our week. The Magic Monday mantra of the week is, I am grateful in the highs and I am graceful in the lows, because this week is such a combination of it. I mean, we have what is one of the most blessed aspects in astrology, Venus on Jupiter, coupled with Mercury on Saturn, another awkward double date, like if you watched that particular Magic Monday. There's this energy around expanding all that is beautiful and lovely about existence, while also having to face some not pleasant realities, and how it is that you can experience both without getting attached, right? How it is that you can embrace those good feelings, soak them into your being, as well as how it is that you can understand when you're moving through something challenging, this will not last forever. Like, that up and down energy is very much of the Pisces experience. And if you also do any sort of social media, any sort of podcast or anything of that nature, it just kind of reminds me of stats around things are constantly fluctuating. Views, subscribers, like you cannot get attached to it, okay? I feel like that's only a message for a couple people who are meant to hear this right now. You cannot get attached to it. Like if you're feeling fly, when numbers are going good, like you're gonna feel horrible about yourself when they're going down. It has nothing to do with you. How can you be a container for the ups and the downs, being grateful, like, oh, cool, things are going well. And then as well as understanding, okay, my views are going down, but it's not a big deal. It doesn't make me bad. It doesn't make me wrong. Like it's important to be present for experience, whether it's on social media, whether it's within your life, within your business, like kind of revenue going up and down, to be able to appreciate, like, wow, I'm having a good month. I'm having a good month. This is awesome. Without feeling like I'm the best business person and I'm gonna be on Forbes and everything's gonna go great for me. Like to understand things are constantly in flux. So to not get too cocky in the ups and to not get too down in the lows. Again, embracing the full fluctuation, whether you're experiencing that with your emotions, whether you're experiencing that with your stats, with your revenue, with your business, with your comedy, wherever it is that you are feeling this energy. Grateful in the highs, wow, things are going well. Graceful in the lows. Oh, things aren't going so well, but maybe next month. It's not easy. Strive for non-attachment. Strive to just practically understand, it's not so good, but it's not so bad. What it is that I do is separate than what it is that I am. This experience that I'm moving through, whether it's a bad trip at a music festival or something else that you're walking through in life, it does not define you. It does not define who it is that you are. And if you're in an experience where it's like, maybe you're living with family or you're laid off or you just went through a breakup or, situations aren't pleasant, it doesn't say anything about you. You are not what your bank account says. You are not your relationship status. You are not your performance at work. Things are constantly in flux. And you can feel that and feel scared about it around, oh, things are constantly changing, that's scary. Or feel freed by it to understand all I can control is feeling good today. All I can control is prioritizing taking care of myself today and just allowing yourself to keep that slow and steady pace as you navigate the week. So my loves, my Instagram handle is @HoneyCometAstrology. My TikTok is the same. I would still love to connect with you on this week's astrology or really anything astrological at all. And until we meet again, drink lots of water and stay